Attingham Park, and we have a lot of kit set out. We have a busy part of the day planned. So we need to clear the sugar beets off of this field, and then these two fields need prepping for planting some maize. So field 28 needs ploughing, and then both need some slurry put on them, so we're going to use a bit more pumps and hoses, and cultivating. So we're going to use the same bit of kit we used last time in the other cornfield. We've got the shooting slurry container thing with a pump on it, which we're going to make use of. I've got a slurry tender that we'll use to bring the slurry from the cow yard, which is what we're going to use for these fields. If we don't have enough, we'll then use some digestate. So first trailer load for, and I have added in a root crop store because obviously I edited the silo so that it wouldn't take bulk, so that it didn't take the manure in, and that means we can't put them in the silo. I don't think we should have been able to anyway, because we couldn't have taken them out, which was a bit of a problem. So there might have been a way of adding them back in, but I thought this was better. It's not like we're short of cash to be able to pay for it. So this holds 800,000 litres, which is way more than we have, and it has a really nice animation when you tip. But I don't want to tip through the grain door, I want to tip through the back. But you might be able to see in the bottom corner that it actually animates the crops going up the little belt system and into the pile in the shed, which is really nice. Really nice animation there. So I'm going to get the rest of these cleared, and then we're going to get on with some of the field work, because yeah, I was just lazy before when I harvested them and left them in the field and haven't really been using them. So we've got the Jan Lancer Maximum Cheaty Lime Spreader on the back. This thing uses so little lime. I'm going to run it on coarse plate, get this field limed, and then we're going to use the two bigger vouchers to plough. I'm actually going to use the two bigger vouchers and the big class to plough in the end, because coarse blade doesn't do the most awesome job that I've ever seen. So yeah, but we'll get to that once we've done a bit more pumping and hosing. Still amazed I say that right every time. We will be doing a bit of work on cow feeding, looking at some different TMR mixes, and then getting the manure heap cleared out before the end of spring to get some more grass fields fertilised, ready for first cut in April or May. I'm not sure where. I haven't spoken to GB in a while. Didn't answer my last message, in fact, but you know, maybe very busy. He's a guy that, you know, farm sim is not a priority for him, and that's not a dig. He's a busy guy. I'm not sure where the update is for Attingham, so I might end up editing my grading areas on here to make them cover more of the pasture. I was planning, it wouldn't be me without a crash, would it? I was planning to wait until the update comes out, but it feels like that might be a little way off, so I'm going to get that updated and expanded a bit. Yeah, so I'm going to use coarse play to plough these two fields, and really the goal is just getting them ready to plant the corn so that I can progress a bit. I'm finding on most of these saves actually at the moment, I have more days in the month than I need. Now the counter to that is, otherwise I'd be feeding the cows more than once a day, so I'm skipping a lot of days. I had planned to actually plant the corn, but I realise I need to get through all of March before I can do that, so that'll be next video, I think. And then we can start progressing through first cut, seeing how the grazing kicks in again. So I am currently having to feed the beef cattle and the dairy cows. So the beef, see, the last video had run out of grazing, so giving them a mixer full of TMR a day. It's not quite enough, but it keeps them fed most of the day. And once grazing kicks in, they'll be fine again. And I'm not actually sure how long I'm going to keep them, whether I'm going to keep them the full 3 years to maximise their value, or whether we'll sell them off early. I might get more in the spring, because the grazing seemed to keep them fed more than enough, so I might add another 30. I think I've got 60 at the moment, so see how that does for grazing. It's a very big pasture, so hopefully it will support them. Again, I'm going to use coarse plate. I don't put enough headlands in by far, so I have a bit of a faff with tractors getting stuck on fences, but yeah, I should have done probably 4 double headlands, maybe 3. The working width of the plough is smaller than I had thought, basically. But that will be all of our fields ready and planted. We're not planting any root crops this year. I'm finding that I'm not actually using them as much as I thought I would in the feeding. I'm really liking the beet pulp bales, the fermented beet pulp bales, so we do need to make some more of those, because there aren't many left. So I'll have to lease the multi-baler again, and we'll make some of those. And might do some CCM bales. Maybe we could buy some corn and make some CCM bales. I haven't done any of that yet. That might be fun. I know this is supposed to be about maizePlus, and the last few videos haven't really been. They've been more about pumps and hoses, and it's just where we are in the year in game that I'm having to do a fair bit of field work, and pumps and hoses is fun for that with the whole fertilising thing. So I'm not going to show as much this time, I don't think. So hopefully people won't get too bored of it. I don't think the second pumps and hoses video has come out yet for this series. I'm a tiny bit ahead. Not much, but a tiny bit. The other cool news, actually I'll come to that in a minute, because I think we're about to jump into a time lapse. So I'll save it for just after that. Just looking at the courseplay settings for... Yeah, that should be okay. Just check, because sometimes ploughing misses bits, and this is a good example of, this field is a good example of ploughing missing bits. So yeah, I'm going to say thank you to the patrons and the YouTube channel members. Appreciate you guys supporting the channel. It is getting quite a long list to fit in to the video, but hey. So you can see, yeah, courseplay is missing a little bit there, which we'll have to get to, and one of the tractors is already stuck. But hey, so yeah, the good news, and it's Friday today when I'm recording this, the laptop will be arriving back home in the next 2 to 3 hours. So no more of these dodgy graphics that you're seeing at the moment with the really short view distances. Things will get cranked back up to what I like, which is going to be nice. Assuming it all works. And after I've reinstalled everything, because I removed literally everything, took it back to a completely bare Windows installation, removed all my information, removed my Windows account, removed the hard drive with all my data on it. So yeah, got to get all that back and up and running, set OBS and back up, reinstall FarmSim, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, I found, and you saw in some of the first bits of the time lapse, courseplay missed a few bits today with its ploughing, so I leased a third plough, chuck it on the back of the Axia 960, and I'm just picking up the bits that courseplay misses, so that we've got the field done, ready for slurry and cultivation and then planting. So yeah, this field will have been worked quite a lot, because of the way that precision farming works, because we're going to put the corn in with the direct drill. The penalties for precision farming for having having ploughed and cultivated will be removed, which is kind of cheaty, but kind of useful, because you really do want to plough your fields if they are in a needs ploughing state, because the hit you'll take on yield is more than the hit you'll take from the environmental impact, I think. So just tidying up the last few missed bits. So, yeah, I probably need to update Courseplay. I have not updated it in quite a while. I'm really bad at that. They even have the latest version pinned in the recommended mods in Discord, and I'm still really bad at updating it. This weekend should be a maizePlus testing weekend, which means there might not be a video for a few days early on in the week. There's a new version ready to go through testing with a bunch of stuff fixed, so that's kind of cool. At the moment, if you've downloaded Ola's rounder round bales, rounder round wrapped round bales, you might find that has some conflicts with maizePlus because it doesn't have the maizePlus bale types defined. He's working on that. There should be an update soon. But if you find that you're trying to do things like grass silage and you don't get grass silage, just knock that mod out. That should sort it. Until Ola's got it updated. So we're going to get some hoses run out now for pumping and hosing. It's kind of like I did last time. I'm just going to run this along the headland of the field. And then back, and then attach the shorter hose to it, and that'll give us a nice loop to work with. I did some messing around off camera, being less careful, and I found that actually it takes longer if you don't set things up properly, because the hoses keep disconnecting themselves as they get pulled around the field. So it's definitely quicker to spend the time setting them up properly. The other thing that I think I found is that if you're lazy and you don't clear your hoses before you roll them, they take a lot longer to roll up. A lot longer. So I need to get better at doing that. It means that when I think about putting a setup in a real save, that I need to make sure that I get the compressor as well as a pump. I think there's one implement that I've not really tried, which is the other trailer or tender thing, which has a pump and I think a compressor built in. So we might have to give that a try as well. Because that would be kind of cool if it could do both. I'm still learning this stuff, but I really enjoy playing with it. It's, yeah. I'd had a bit of trouble getting Courseplay to loop around automatically and fill the slurry tank. You'll see that in a bit. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure if it was just that my Courseplay course wasn't close enough or the trigger wasn't quite right, but yeah, that was a little bit annoying. So we've put a 500 meter pipe out, and we're just putting out a 200 meter pipe. And I found that this tends to work quite well. Basically, the longer pipe doesn't really move too much, but gives me enough pipe that I can move all the way across the field. And then the shorter black pipe acts as kind of a tether on things. You'll see it later on. I'm going to time-lapse most of the slurry application and skip some of it because I did a whole video on it last time, so I don't like generally doing back-to-back videos that are the same, but it's what needed to be done on here, and I didn't want to skip it all. So, and I've done Maypole and stuff since, and random BGA things and all that kind of stuff, so hopefully you'll have enjoyed it. So, I enjoyed filming it, so that's kind of the important thing for me. So, 2 hoses connected. Just need to place this one so it's close enough that the trigger will work. Probably massive overkill having the Attingham 960 on here, but even with 5 tractors, actually you need quite a lot of kit to run this stuff. More so with this setup, I guess, because I have a tractor that's managing the hoses. I have the Arian 660 that we're using for the application. We've got the Axion running the pump, and then we've got the little G series is doing the slurry tending. So yeah, There's quite a lot going on. There it is, the little G series. We're going to set up an auto drive loop. As I said, it doesn't work brilliantly. It seems to not find the trigger to unload at. I don't know if that's me or pumps and hoses. It's probably me. I was recording this after quite a long day yesterday, so I may not have had my my brightest brain running. But we've got 130,000 litres of slurry, so hopefully that will do most of these two fields. When we plant the corn, we've got, I think that planter has fertiliser, so that'll finish off the fertilisation. But it's particularly with dairy cows, you want to try and keep your slurry managed, because if the slurry store gets full, you stop producing milk, or you used to. I've not tested it in a while, it might have changed. And that's why I added in that second slurry tank, because that holds, I'll say 600,000 litres, so we've got, I think, about 800,000 litres of slurry storage on the farm now, which is pretty good for keeping track of things. And we'll probably do some slurry spreading through the summer on the grass if we need to get rid of it, basically, or if we need to get a bit more nitrogen. A lot of the grass fields are quite heavily covered in nitrogen. I was going to say nitrogened, but I'm not sure that's a word. But yeah, most of the grass fields are pretty good for nitrogen. The bigger grass field that we've got will be after this, because we're going to throw the manure on it, and actually it works out just perfectly for that. So loading and unloading waypoints set, I'm going to run the tractor back down the edge of the field we're working in, because there's not really anywhere good to turn around, particularly as we have hoses trading all over the place. We could have gone further down and maybe turned around at the end, but I wanted to keep the loop quite short. As with the last time we used auto drive on here, I don't actually have a proper auto drive network set up. I'm just setting up the loop for this, and then I'll probably knock auto drive out again. I'm really not using it much at the moment. With the good laptop coming back, we can make use of things like auto drive again. I've been minimizing my script mods for the last 2 months, because scripts add processing overhead even when you're not using them, because the game is aware of this. It's not quite the right word. Yeah, scripts add overhead whether they are being actively used or not, if they are installed. So I've been minimizing scripts, and I don't need to soon. I think it's an hour, 2.5 hours, I think, till the delivery window from DPD. And hopefully they're sending it back in a better box than it went in, because they provided the courier with a box for the collection, and it was designed for a 15-inch laptop, not a 17-inch laptop. It fit, but it didn't fit great. So we'll just close off the loop and turn off that, set it to pick up and deliver, and we're going to fill up with slurry from the slurry fill, and we're going to take it to slurry unload. As it's been so long since I've used auto drive for this stuff that the problem might have been me, not auto drive. But pump on, hopefully. Pump on. RPMs go up, obviously. Jump in the Arian. I could have probably done with putting joules on this, or fatter tyres. Yes, I'm going to be driving over the hoses. I'm still learning how to set this stuff up. I'll get better, but be patient. And we're going to be applying about 100 kilograms, so you can see there the valve is just driven straight past the trigger. And for some reason we're not applying nitrogen. I think as it went through the trigger, and I didn't notice for a while, I think as it went through the trigger it switched the pump off for some reason. Not sure why, but that's what I think. So we're going to take control and just do a bit of an emergency turn through the hedge. And what I end up doing is basically using auto drive to fill the slurry tender for me, driving it to the trigger and waiting, and then I manually do it. I did find that if I triggered the refill from in the Axion, the pump would stay on, which is maybe it's something they're going to fix. I don't know. I'm really hoping that they sort the animal triggers working. That would be nice. It would be really nice to be able to put the pump next to a standard slurry pit and pump from there. And yes, I went through the hedge. I still have hedge collisions turned off at the moment for this experimenting with pumps and hoses. So I wonder if my trigger is not in the right place, actually looking at it afterwards. But no, we can start free filling, so we'll fill up, go, and we're going to activate the pump as well. Or did I wait? So I'm going to start time lapsing this in a moment, because I've been faffing for quite a long time. So yeah, but we've got a mostly full, I'm not sure what to call that, slurry tank. Let's call it a slurry tank. And still not applying nitrogen because I did forget to turn the pump on. And again, it took me a while to realise. I was kind of tired when I was recording this, and you'll see actually as well that the metal tether has bugged and split, and it stops it behaving properly, which is a bit annoying, and didn't seem to resort itself at all through this session, even with some detaching and things. At the end of this video, I end up selling all of the slurry pumps and hoses kit because it's going to be a while before we need it, and we may, by the time we need it again, I may have finished this save basically, because we'll have done a year of maizePlus. Depends how popular it is still. It's kind of a weird one because I normally play around achieving goals and managing every time I forget to switch that off. Around achieving goals and managing the farm and, running it like a business, and this one is really not, because I have unlimited money at the moment. Yeah, you can see, very broken. The BGA that we have from pumps and hoses is generating almost infinite cash as well, although it's not active at the moment. So yeah, the save is in kind of a weird place. So if it's still really popular, I might carry it on, but we might have to change things a bit. Or kind of refresh it. I don't know. We'll see how we get on much later on in the game. The goal at the moment is just to show you a year of farming with maizePlus. I am very aware as well, I've kind of been ignoring the sheep. Tends to be how I farm sheep in FarmSim. At the moment, we don't really have the feed for them, so I've been feeding them those, keep forgetting, the conditioned grass bales, which are a complete feed, but completely unrealistic as well. After this year, we'll have all the elements we need to feed them, or most of the elements that we'll need to feed them, so I'll show it properly then. Yeah, I know some people have embraced that cheaty feeding, so yeah, it's an option. And we now just have a headland to do, and you can see the tether is behaving very strangely. It should lock itself behind like that, and then articulate on the joint just behind the implement, and it's just not doing that at all. I kind of wish that once you had the implement that's attached unfolded, that it actually locked the first joint as it does when you lower it, so that when you're driving around, that tether turns behind the cultivator when it's lifted rather than the free movement it has. Might be a personal preference thing, but you see where it's articulating there? I think it should stay like that once the cultivator is unfolded, whether it's lifted or not, but it doesn't. That might be intentional, that might be a bug, I don't know. But because it's in a locked DLC, you can't tinker with it anyway, so we'll just live with it. So I've really enjoyed messing around with the pumps and hoses stuff. It's a nice new way of doing field prep. I would not normally have cultivated these fields, but actually it felt like a good step with cultivating in the slurry and the digestate in the one I did last time. So I'm just going to try and move the pipe around a bit so that we can get back round and cover the rest of the headland. Right, we're going to go off this way a bit to pull the pipe away from the hedge, and then loop back round and go round the pipe. Again, I have no idea if this is realistic. This is what I thought would work to deal with it, to minimise the amount of driving on the pipe. I know I have been, but you know, there's the slurry tender back, and having changed the mode to can't remember what that mode was. It actually waits now at the unload point. I'm guessing auto drive can't find the trigger, but that's fine because it just waits there, and then I can jump in the Axion when I need to and refill it. So I was happy with that. We weren't going through slurry that quickly, so that actually worked quite well. The cart was quite short. Basically, I didn't want to run a slurry pipe across the road, even though I've got a tractor parked in the road instead. It's a dead end. It stops at our farm, so I could have. But, you know, it's nice to try the different kit out. I guess the next step to try is maybe pumping from the digestate tank into something like that, and then from that out into the field. So you've got kind of a halfway reservoir. That's probably good if you've got to pump a really long way, because I think the longest pump does 1,000 meters. So yeah, that would be a really good way of maybe doing that. You could pump 1 kilometer to the slurry tank and then use that to pump into the field. We'll have a go at some point, and you can see yet again some of the cows have escaped into the road. That is a feature of having a really large nav mesh which is spread across some fairly undulating terrain. It's actually supposed to be inside the fence, but sneaks outside the fence. They're not going to go anywhere, it's fine. They're obviously trying to graze some of the grass in the road. So that's that field done. I am going to get all of this tidied up, and I will see you in the morning for feeding some cows once I've done the other field as well. Yeah. I attempt to be this is where I attempt to be really lazy and not coil my hoses and relay them. And you can see it's already detached. So yeah, don't be lazy with your hoses. Keep your hose neat and tidy. I'm not actually sure how much of this I recorded and at what point we skip ahead to the next game day or not. So going to go and reel in the 500 meter hose that's on this setup, because we have another one that we can roll out, and in fact here we are. So yeah, first thing I want to do is put in the molasses tank from Just Add Adam. This is on Mod Hub now, so go download it and make use of it. It's really cool. I actually don't have room in the mixer to put any in on this first mix, but hey, Nice little mod. You can, like a fuel tank, you can get the molasses delivered, or you can deliver it yourself from IBCs. But actually, pretty good price, £800 for 5,000 litres of molasses. Kind of like that. And I have the mixer set on the young stock mix, because the cows that we're going to feed are quite young. We're taking this over to the beef cattle. And that needs a mixture of straw, hay and silage, and then some molasses, but I didn't have room for the molasses. Then this is where making some of your bales smaller would be good. See, I made the straw bales as big as I could for blowing in for bedding, and that means that they're too big for mixing in this mixer wagon. So we're going to have to put in part of a bale. I'm sure you all know how to do that, but basically lower it into the mixer wagon enough that it starts to empty, and it'll take some of the bale and then we can lift it out and put it to the side. But yeah, I would definitely recommend, if you're planning to use straw in your feed, make some smaller bales or have a bigger mixer wagon. Either works. Yeah, so you can see we need 10% straw, or at least 10% straw, at least 15% of silage, and I think I missed what the hay percentage was. We'll see when we go back. I'm again making more use of the new PC and watching the video on the new computer and recording the voice on the old one. So I don't have decent video player installed on the new computer yet, so it has an annoying menu bar at the bottom visible. So we need 25% hay, so we can do a bale of hay, and then I think I do 2 bales of silage, I think. Yeah, do 2 bales of silage, and that fills the mixer and doesn't leave any room for molasses, which was a bit annoying. I do still need to get a bigger mixer wagon on here, but I really like using the Keenan. It's Tom Pemberton's one, and it's really popular in the UK for a lot of farmers, I think. So yeah, the silage bales do kind of fall through the bottom. You might have a rust problem there. Might have a bit of rust to fix. But I'm going to take this over and get it fed to the beef cattle. I say it does them for most of the day. I could just not feed them, to be honest, because animals don't die in FS22, but you know, actually that links to a really cool mod that just released that adds animals to productions. And I am hoping that that means we're going to see some really cool mods soon. It'd be really nice to see, like the farm dairy that I made, it would be nice to see like a little farm butchery, something like that. I don't think my 3D skills are good enough to make it how I would want to do it. But that would be really cool. You know, you take in a cow or a couple of pigs or a couple of sheep and get them butchered and sold direct to the customer. A bit like Tom Pemberton's farm shop, I guess. I really like that kind of idea for improving the profitability of small farms. So I have put on my farrowing series that is for the channel patrons. I have the farm dairy on there selling the raw milk, because I have a small dairy on there. I have horses and sheep and chickens as well. But yeah, to improve how much money we can make, we have that little dairy running, improving the profitability of the farm. And I think a small farm butchery would be really cool. I used to live near a farm that did their own butchery. They had a really nice butcher shop actually, because I think they supplied trade as well, but also went to, when I was in West Wales, went to a small farm butchery which was like 2 porter cabins. Really nice food, and that kind of thing I think would be really good in farm sim. You know, if you could take a couple of your cows in, get the meat sold over a month or two, would be a really nice addition. As I say, my 3D modelling skills wouldn't do it the justice that I would like, probably. It might have a play. I'm getting more tempted to have a play as I talk about it. So yeah, back to my normal mix for the cows at the moment, which is a bale of grass silage, a bale of maize silage, a bale of hay, and a bale of beet pulp silage. Beet pulp seems to be getting more popular in the UK. Tom Pemberton was talking about it. Joe Seals just had a load delivered, and I did joke that they must both be activating maizePlus. This is the first time I've seen farmers talking about it on YouTube, and it's really coincidental that two of the ones that I watch that do livestock farming have both started using it within a few weeks of maizePlus being released. Yeah, just makes me chuckle. So once we've done this mix, I'm going to do the second one. I won't bother showing you that because it's the same as this one. And then we're going to get some manure spread. Basically, the manure pit is not full. There's about 90,000 litres in there. And it would be good to empty it before we get into being busy with other jobs on the farm. And it was something to do at the end of the video. Actually, this video has turned out much longer than I expected anyway. But for the next one, I will have skipped ahead to April to planting the corn. We've got 3 fields of corn to plant, so that keeps us busy for a bit. Don't think I'll roll them. Don't know. I might. We'll see. Not even sure if this farm owns a roller. The last 4% that I'm going to put in is going to be the grain mix that we made before, just to add a little bit to the feed. I have no idea if this would be a nutritionally balanced TMR works. So I actually have, and I really need to implement. I did it in a tutorial and then haven't really used them since. Quacker, one of the guys on my Discord, sent me the mixtures that they use on their farm. He works on a livestock farm, and I should really implement those. He sent me a whole load of information, and in fact I might try and do that. Maybe not for the next video, but for in the next couple I might try and do that, so I know I'm getting some good complete mixes. I'm pretty sure that the mixture recipes in here are. I think the realistic one is maybe the one that's the least realistic, because you only need to put grass and maize silage in and everything else is optional. But this has been a bit of a marathon. I had to take a quick break. Hopefully that is a seamless edit as we switch to leasing the manure spreader. I'm going to go for the Bergman TSW 6240W. I have no idea what the W stands for, but it's got a decent working width, it's got a decent capacity, and it shouldn't hopefully overweigh the tractor too much. It's certainly a big bit of kit, and it's pretty darn heavy when it's full. We might have been better to actually use the 960 on this, but it parked up ready to go on the seeder, on the planter, because I was a bit over keen and forgot that I needed to wait a month when I was recording. So yeah, we're going to use the Valtra instead. I do love this orange Valtra. It's a really nice bit of kit. I'm actually very tempted, because we have this, which is the Q, I think it's the Q, yeah, and we have the S, and I'm really tempted to trade the S up for a Q, mainly because the S has a more normal transmission, and this has a CVT transmission, and it's so much nicer to drive around in. So yeah, I'm very, very tempted to upgrade the S to a second Q. The horsepower, it would be beneficial. There's about another 80 horsepower in it, and it would just make my life so much easier, because the gearbox in that S seems really clunky for a modern tractor. So we're going for manual application rate and I think I go for 80 kilograms of nitrogen per hectare. This is probably going to get us, I seem to have put the tractor in park. That's a VCA feature. This is going to get us most of the fertilization for the year for grass. If you actually look in the precision farming XML file, the way where they changed grass fertilization and reduced the amount of nitrogen they needed, I think the intent was that you could fertilize once a year and cover all of your fertilization needs for grass for the year. Not sure how realistic that is. I know, based on my years of experience of watching farmers on YouTube, a lot of them seem to apply slurry or solid fert after they've cut the grass, so I don't know. That cultivated field does look nice, ready for the corn to go in. So yeah, but I really just wanted to clear off the manure pit before we got busy. It seems like a sensible thing to do to me. We'll probably do manure spreading again once all the crops are harvested and once we've had a last cut off the grass. Probably third cut off the grass. We'll probably then do some manure spreading again. And then through the through summer, spring and summer, we'll be putting slurry on the fields, on the grass fields. I have no idea if we have enough grass fields now, where we've converted the big pasture into an actual pasture. The counter to that is that through the summer the cows will all be grazing, so we won't need to feed them. So, or at most we'll need to do some supplementary feeding. I don't know if the pasture that the dairy cows are in is going to be big enough to support the 45 that we have. I may buy more. Don't seem to be struggling particularly with keeping them fed. 2 mixer loads per game day is not too bad to deal with. And if we got a bigger mixer, that would be even easier. It might mean we're still doing 2 mixer loads a day or 3 mixer loads every 2 days, something like that. But it would be nice to push the numbers a bit and see how we cope. When I bring back my Greenlands series, I have 160 mature Holsteins on there, so that's going to be a heck of a lot of food. And I have something like 200 or 300 beef cattle or calves. So yeah, that's going to be fun. I need to get grazing working on those Elk Mountain pastures because that's what my beef cattle and calves are in. So I need to get that working. When I looked before, it looked a bit strange, so that will be a job to do before I bring that series back. For deciding how I'm going to bring stuff back, I'm probably going to go ask the patrons over on my Patreon page as to what they would prefer to see come back first. Whether it's the Greenland's £10 million debt challenge or the Calmsden series that I have. Yeah, so I'm probably going to ask on there. So if you want to have input into that, head on over to Patreon. It's totally optional, by the way. Yeah. But that's one of the perks you get. You get to help with me decide things. Because I don't know which one to bring back. I really have no preference on either. I can't bring back more than one of them without ending one of the other 2 that I have active. Three main Let's Plays on the channel is almost too many. I don't count the one for Patreon because I make that separately. So yeah, I won't be bringing both back until I retire, probably this series. So, but this series is going to be limited to at most 2 years, maybe 1. So. I think it works better only having 2 Let's Plays active. But I'm really liking Maypole, so I don't want to get rid of that. What's slightly frustrating is this series is way more popular than Maypole, and I enjoy playing Maypole a lot more. So there's that kind of little tug of the series that I really like playing and I really want to keep running for a very long time, and the series that about twice as many people watch. Maybe it's because of the really awesome job that the guys on Discord did helping me design the thumbnails. Who knows? I'm kind of pleased that I only took 2 sessions to get the commentary recorded for this monstrously long video. If you've made it to the end, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. That really helps. Comments, questions and suggestions below. And if you're not already, subscribe to the channel. And I will see you next time on Attingham Park.